Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is Canto 6, Chapter 4, entitled the Hamsa Guhya Prayers, and it's text 49 and 50. So you have 50 on the board. Let me find it. Ata me abhihita deva tapa atapyata dagunam nava vishwashija yushman yena adav ashijat vibhu atamibito devas tapotapyata dagunam nava vishwashijo yushman yenadav ashijat vibhu atamebihito devas tapotapyata dagunam nava vishwashijo yushman yenadav ashijat vibhu. Mothers. At that time, me, by me, Abhihita, advised Deva, that Lord Brahma, Tapa, austerity, Atapyata, performed, Dagunam, extremely difficult, Nava, 9, Vishwashija, important personalities to create the universe. Yushman, all of you. Yena, by whom? Adav, in the beginning. Ashijat, created. Vibhu, the great. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. So translation, when the chief lord of the universe, Lord Brahma, Swayambhu, having been inspired by my energy, was attempting to create, he thought himself incapable. Therefore I gave him advice. In accordance with my instructions, he underwent extremely difficult austerities. Because of these austerities, the great Lord Brahma was able to create 9 personalities, including you. That means Daksha. Krishna is speaking to Daksha, to help him in the functions of creation responsively. When the chief Lord of the universe, Lord Brahma, Swayambhu, having been inspired by my energy, was attempting to create, he thought himself incapable. Therefore I gave him advice, and in accordance with my instructions, he underwent extremely difficult austerities. Because of these austerities, the great Lord Brahma was able to create 9 personalities, including you, to help him in the function of creation. Purport. Nothing is possible without tapasya. Lord Brahma, however, was empowered to create this entire universe because of his austerities. The more we engage in austerities, the more we become powerful by the grace of the Lord. Therefore, Rishabhadev advised his son, Tapo Divyam Putraka Yena Sarvam Sudye. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified. This is 5th canto, 5th chapter, 1st verse. In our material existence, we are impure, and therefore we cannot do anything wonderful. But if we purify our existence by tapasya, we can do wonderful things by the grace of the Lord. Therefore, tapasya is very important, as stressed in this verse. Om Jnana Timandasya Gyana Jalashalakaya Chakshurmitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Madhubhishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Datati Swabhadantikam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachatateshtarine Vanchakalpatarubhyacha Kipasinyubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namaha. I'm getting the blessings from Rajananda Prabhu, so he's blessing me. That's good. I need it. So Prabhupada gives a Bengali shlok or Bengali proverb. Prabhupada liked Bengali proverbs. It says, if I remember, it says, Chakshe yadi lage bhala kene dekana. If my eyes want to see, why should they not see? Basically, if my eyes, they want to see something, why they should not see? If my senses want to enjoy, why they can't enjoy? So Prabhupada called this animalism. Prabhupada had all these terminology, watermelon, water lemons. He would say he says that if you chant your rounds good, you'll be free from deathlessness. All terms that sometimes we never heard. So he said this is actually sense enjoyment. If my eyes want to see, how they cannot see? Deke kene dekana. Deke means to see. And why kene? Why they can't see? So Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, Pragosh Prabhu, not our GBC, but the Prabhupada Pragosh Prabhu. They were walking in Vrindavan and they saw hogs. So Prabhupada stopped and said, what is this library in New York on 42nd Street, the New York Public Library? They have thousands of books. Prabhupada liked to sometimes dramatize. Thousands of books all about sex. How to have sex, how to do sex, everything. He gave all the list. But he said, look at these hogs, they're not reading books. He said they're with sister, they're with mother, they know everything. You want to learn, you learn from them. He said, next life, you become like that, then you can really enjoy. So, Prabhupada was saying. So there's a story also with Kulashekar Prabhu. I think I gave that story, but it shows, exemplifies the point that Prabhupada was grooming Kulashekar Prabhu, the English one, to become sannyas. So one day he said, okay, now I'm ready. He went to see Prabhupada, but Shamsundar Prabhu was there at the door. He just had become GBC. It was around 72. So Shamsundar Prabhu said, why you want to see Prabhupada? He said, well, I want to take sannyas. What, Prabhu? You don't have any lusty desires? Well, now think about it. He says, go back, come back tomorrow. If you go back and you come back tomorrow and you feel confident, then you can ask for sannyas. So he goes back and all night he's thinking. And he went to the point of thinking which bhaktin he should marry. You know, everything. He changed. His whole mind was changed. So he goes back to Prabhupada. He goes in the room. Prabhupada's beaming. And he says, Prabhupada, I want to get married. Prabhupada's face went, shoo. Who did this to you? He was so angry. He said, well, Shamsundar. Shamsundar? He tells Pradyumna was in the room. Pradyumna Prabhu, he says, come. Shamsundar, what did you do? This is my disciple. You'd never tell my brahmachari to get married. He said, but Prabhupada, he said he had some sex desires. He says, everyone with a material body has sex desires. So that's the point. Instinct. Prabhupada said, even the ants, they get intoxicated. They take sugar and they become intoxicated. So eating, sleeping, mating, defending, everyone's affected by this. Prabhupada calls it instinct. And he says tapasya means going against instinct. Against that instinct to enjoy. So it's explained that every animal, they have one sense that is like killing them. Like for example, the deer is hearing nice music, the hunter is doing that music and the deer gets shot. Then the moth is seeing the light, so it goes and it dies. And the fish is tongue. So it sees the bait, it bites, and it dies. And the elephant's attracted by the she-elephant. So they bring the she-elephant in front of the elephant runs, and then there's a big hole, and the elephant falls. But he said, humans, all the senses together. All the senses are attacking us. We have the possibility to enjoy. We can fly, we can go underwater, we can do anything the animals are doing. And we can do it so well. We can enjoy so well. That's instinct. But our instinct is telling, let me enjoy. So Prabhupada says, no. You have to do, not Prabhupada, Rishabhadev and the scriptures, that the tapasya is there to stop, to go against that instinct. But he says we don't believe in artificial separation. We believe in voluntary, giving it up voluntarily. He had written that letter to Mother Imavati. And I think her and Amsaduta Prabhu, there was something, separation, because they shouldn't enjoy, they have to be careful. So Prabhupada said, we don't believe in artificial separation, but voluntarily your renunciation. You voluntarily do it. There's a nice story, actually, Mother Ruchira from Alachua gives, that Imavati, and there was about 6 couples, they went to some, I guess, one Kumbh Mela with Prabhupada. And there were 6 couples, they each had one tent, they were each sleeping in the tent. But Amsaduta Prabhu didn't want to sleep with Imavati. He says, I'm renounced. So Imavati went and she hid in Prabhupada's closet. In his tent, in Prabhupada, there was a closet, I don't know where it was. So Prabhupada said, that's not good, because they're going to say that Bhaktivedanta Swami is having young ladies in his room. He said, what is the problem? He says, well, he doesn't want to sleep with me. So I guess that letter came from that, but Prabhupada all met the Grihasthas and he said that, I'm giving you sannyas. And the lady said, huh? He says, yeah, we're all going to sleep separate. The ladies in one tent and the men in one tent. But I guess it came from that. So renunciation comes from knowledge. I mean, when you do tapasya, it has to be based on knowledge. So Prabhupada gives also a class in Chicago. He said, Vishvamitra Muni, he meditated, he did austerities, tapasya for 60,000 years. Then Indra got jealous, he sent Menaka, and he fell down. Then he started again 60,000 years. Then Indra sent an Apsara, and he burnt her. So he lost again. Then he started again. So Prabhupada says that when you go on Sankirtan, in a few days, you achieve the same result Vishvamitra did in 60,000 years. 60,000 years. I don't know now when people join, but I know when I joined, we had to give up a lot. Tamal Krishna Maharaj gave a class in, I think in the 92 in Houston. It was the GBC president meeting. He said that, don't you see how all the bhaktas and the new devotees, how enthusiastic they are? That's because they're renouncing, they're giving up, they're doing tapasya. But as we get older, in Krishna consciousness, the level of renunciation or giving up with tapasya is not the same. So we don't feel necessarily that bliss. I know when I joined, First thing the temple president told me is, how much money do you have? So I said, I have $5,000, which is a lot of money in the 80s. He said, then he preached to me about Annunciation. So I give it. Then before I joined, I was going to get married, but she didn't come. So my Bhakti leader, Gaur Prabhu, he told me, he says, you know, now you brahmachari, you write to her that you brahmachari, you cannot speak to her. So I wrote her a letter, I cannot speak to you, I am brahmachari now. So I gave that up. So much giving up we had to do. Then they gave me a bunk bed without a mattress, my clothes were under, I just bought my sleeping bag, it got stolen. And then on Sankirtan, I mean, I never got caught by the police except when I joined ISKCON. We went on there was the Pope Marathon in the 80s. We used to dress in common clothes with wigs, and we had Christian cards, and then the police stopped us, obviously. And when I got stopped, the Christian card I had was actually under someone else's name too. So much austerities we do. When we used to go to Calgary, we used to do Sankirtan. It was so cold, we used to keep the car going. And then for 10 minutes we go out, then we come back to heat up. And so all of us, when people join, you see when new devotees come, they run for Mangalarti. But you don't see a lot of old devotees running for Mangalarti. We walk. It's coming, it's okay. We don't have that same drive or the same renunciation or the same tapasya. So I think that's what Maharaj was saying. Tamal Krishna was saying that they have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of determination, they do a lot of tapasya, they're excited, but as we get older, our level of tapasya kind of gets down a little bit. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? A little bit? But you is different. So anyway, so tapasya is based on, Prabhupada said that tapasya is for third-class men. It's not for people who serve Krishna. Prabhupada said that when you see Krishna inside and outside, then you can stop tapasya. Bahi Nisinga, Ridoi Nisinga, you see Krishna's Nisingas outside and inside. When you are at that stage, you give up. Tapasya is not all the time. Tapasya is because we're sick. So people are thinking, I don't want to do tapasya because I want to enjoy. But Prabhupada said, you don't understand. You're not enjoying. If you want to enjoy, do tapasya. You know the story of the boy who was hitting his head on the wall? No? He's banging, banging, banging. His mother's asking, why are you banging your head on the wall? The boy said, because when I stop, it feels really good. So Prabhupada said, that is not enjoyment. He's thinking, I stop, I'm enjoying. But he's not enjoying. He's just suffering stopped. You know? So we suffer in the mature world. People take a cigarette, then they go to something else, they watch a movie. So much anxiety is there, and they're trying to stop it by doing another material activity. I'm sure we bring this also in our lives also. Sometimes we don't chant when we're in anxiety. We'll say, okay, let me do something else. Eat. Well, prashad's transcendental also. But in the sense that we don't take shelter. So because someone is sick, he does tapasya. Because someone is sick, he follows a diet. He has to follow the medicine. He has to do it. So that's why he said it's for third-class men. It's not for people who are liberated. They don't need that. They can do anything they want. Because they always so much love for Krishna. Nityananda was such an avaduta. He was taking milk from Malini. Malini was like a grown woman and he was sucking milk. He can do anything. But people like us who are not at that level, then we have to do tapasya. And it's voluntary. That means that out of faith, I remember that example Jayapataka Maharaj gave out of faith. He says, you're walking on a bridge, you walk one step, look sturdy, do another step, look sturdy. So as you go on the bridge, your faith increases. So as we advance spiritually, our faith increases also. So as the faith increases, we're more and more determined to do tapasya. And tapasya is the only thing that gives us determination to advance spiritually. If you don't do tapasya, you can't be determined. If people break principles, they lose determination. When people stop chanting, it's very difficult to start chanting again. You say, please chant. No, it's so difficult. The mercy doesn't come. Because ultimately, who gives pleasure? It's Krishna. Krishna is not far. This is the heart. This is the heart here. And then Super Soul is there, and we there. Krishna is very, very close. We can just speak to him. He's just there. We there. But because we imbibe into our material covering, we just can't see nothing. We just see the outside. We don't see the inside. So Krishna is very close. He's the one who's going to appear to us. He's the one who's going to give us mercy. But that is done through doing tapasya. So there's mental tapasya, there's verbal tapasya, how we speak to people, that's tapasya also. Always be kind. Actually, I heard one memory where Prabhupada said, actually, you should always be nice to people in general. You should always make them feel good. Sometimes for preaching, you may have to do it. But in general, you want people to feel good. That's why they say that your words should always be, because words can be like arrows, or they can be like flowers and people feel very nice. Huh? So this tapasya of the tongue, this tapasya of the mind, this tapasya of the stomach, the eating. We have so many levels of tapasya that we have to follow. The rounds of tapasya. And there's one statement I was looking in. Prabhupada explained that actually in this age, even basic tapasya is too difficult to follow. It's very difficult to do austerities. But Chaitanya, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with the Harinam, with Hare Krishna. Because that is the cure. So when we chant, we get some strength to do the tapasya. But if people stop chanting, there's no more hope. As long as someone chants, there's hope. But if you don't chant and stop chanting, you're not taking any food, nutrients. And this chanting helps us to do this tapasya. Everyone does tapasya. I mean, look at these people, I don't know here, but in America, they get up 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and they drive highways. I know there was one job I was doing. I had to drive 4 hours a day to go to work. 4 hours. That means I had to get up. Well, I always get up for Mangalati, but had to leave early, 6 o'clock, 8. I was there till 5, 6. So drive another 2 hours. And Kamis do this all the time. They work so hard. I remember I saw a show, this lady, she had no hands. She would sew with her toes, she would drive with her toes, she would write with her toes, so determined. Imagine if we had that determination. It's not easy to take a needle through your toes and start sewing. It takes practice and determination. So imagine if we had that determination in Krishna consciousness. We can be there in any time. It takes 1 minute, Prabhupada said. You just have to say, yeah, Krishna, I'm your servant and you're Krishna. But it has to be realized. At the moment we announce, it's finished. We're there. So everyone does tapasya. Hiranyakashipu, he just bones. And Prabhupada said that's the proof that life doesn't depend on the body. You would think he's dead. He was giving the example of Jesus. And Prabhupada said Jesus went to Kashmir through yogic power. There's one conversation. So he went to Kashmir and he says, with these yogic powers, you can look like you're dead. So you can do it. And they showed that you can do anything. So Hiranyakashipu was there without any, just bones. And he was still living. So everyone does austerities. Prabhupada said Gandhi did austerities also, but it was in the mode of ignorance. When you make the super soul suffer, by making the body go through different, not eating and because he was fasting. He doesn't mention his name, but we know it's him. So everyone does austerities, but we choose to do austerities for Krishna. But it has to be voluntary. We have to say, yes, I have to do it. You can't be artificial. They say, that expression to drink water underwater on a fast day? Because they say, I'm fasting from water, Prabhu. Then they go in Ganga and they drink water underwater. So that's why it can't be artificial. It has to be gradually realized. That means that it has to be something that we do in a determined way. It's a decision that we make. That's why when we preach, I remember one doctor I'm preaching is a colonel. So he wanted to chant 16 rounds. I said, don't make 16 rounds vow. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, choose one number and do it all the time. Don't take too high that you can't do it. Take 4 rounds and do 16 sometimes, but at least 4, and then you go 5, and then you go 6, then you go 7. They said, no, I'm determined. I want to do 6. This 16. This is what I want to do. Obviously, we initiated. Now we can't say, well, Prabhu, I wasn't ready. I know Bhajinaran Prabhu gives a story. The devotee couldn't follow the principle. And he says, Prabhupada, I was young at that time. I was very young. Now, he says, only animals, they cannot follow their vows. So obviously now we don't have the choice, I don't want to chant and all this, but we can. There's certain situation where you don't have to be artificial. So as we do our tapasya, which is the chanting, following the 4 principles, we become more and more and more and more determined. And this way we can make, spiritual advancement. So here this verse, this is Krishna speaking to Daksha. Daksha was already born, he got killed, he lost his, he became a goat. Then he came back 2 manus later, and then he was born from the Pachetas. And then now he's going to create progeny, but he wasn't very happy, so he meditated. And then Krishna appeared to him. Krishna will appear to us. Prabhupada does say that one day you'll put your hand on Krishna's shoulder and he'll put his hand on your shoulder and you'll see him face to face. It's possible. Krishna is there, he's present. Why is it that Prabhupada says that, or the scripture said that Krishna doesn't appear in a dirty heart? Krishna's already in the heart, but he doesn't reveal himself in the dirty heart. So anyway, so this was on Tapasya. And Tapasya is not something artificial. Tapasya is a decision that we make. And that's why when we preach to people, we always have to see what level they're at. We can't artificially impose Tapasya. Like Prabhupada in the beginning, we hear, he didn't impose anything on this, on the I remember Jadurani she was giving a memory. She said, he sent me to New York to train the Bhakteens. I was still in jeans and tight t-shirt. She was at initiation. She said the favorite tight t-shirt and jeans, the initiation. Imagine Prabhupada's tolerance. He wasn't imposing, he was inspiring. So that's why when we preach, we can't artificially impose on people. We can take the highest, but we have to. So gradually they can, through realization, make advancement. So, anyways, any question or comments? Yes, Prabhu. I think there's a mic over there.
Thank you, Prabhu. I was just thinking of this topic of the enthusiasm that a new devotee has, that you're mentioning, that comes from Tapasya and giving up everything. And we also hear about Utsahamai, false enthusiasm, which is there in the beginning. And could you clarify what is the difference?
But you see, Prabhupada, he saw the disciples were making mistakes. Like this thing of not being attached to our families. Like in the Bhagavatam, they say that one should mentally, internally always think of Krishna, and externally show love and do whatever you need with your family. It's not an artificial. You're actually showing love. You're actually taking care. But I mean, in New Vrindavan, you couldn't even, the band couldn't even push his stroller. That was Maya. If I had kids when I joined, I wouldn't take care of my kids the way I'm taking care of my kids. Because that was Maya. Prabhu, it's Maya. Taking care of the kids? That's Maya. So there was, Prabhupada saw there was so many misunderstanding in Gurukul. Prabhupada's totally against hitting kids. He said, you speak to them. He knew what was happening. But he knew also that through chanting and through realization and gradually by working through that, things come. If he had told everything, don't do this, do that, it wouldn't have worked. They weren't ready. This is Prabhupada's beauty. He never micromanaged. Prabhupada, there's a statement how there's variety in agreement. That's the spiritual world. There's variety, so many varieties, but everyone agrees because Krishna is in the center. But in the mature world, variety means disagreement. They can't tolerate differences. Unisex, all the same genes, the same hair, everything. They want to make everything one. They can't tolerate differences to the point that they kill people. They destroy nations. They just can't tolerate it. And that's what we suffer in ISKCON also. It's so difficult to work with people that are different from you. I just can't tolerate it. It's so easy to work with someone who's like you. But then someone comes with a different personality is very difficult. But Prabhupada, he established basic principles and he let them go. He knew Krishna's in the heart, everything will come. So yeah, in the beginning, there's all new devoted people are fanatic. Not just that, when my mother's a double PhD. First she did neurophysiology, and then she became a psychologist. Oh, she was a fanatic. Everything psychology, 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 all the time. That was like too much. She was fanatic. No, it was. She was fanatic, but that's normal. When you discover something, when people discover a doctor, you should try this doctor, Prabhu, he's great. I saw 100 doctors, Prabhu. No, but this one is different. Don't they say it like that? Or when they become microbiotic, or they discover spirulina. We used to take spirulina in the 80s. You know, you should take it, it's great. So when you discover, you become fanatic. It's normal. So even when you imitate, Prabhupada says if you imitate a good thing, it's not bad. Like I remember in the beginning, I was somewhere or another, I was very influenced by my spiritual master, and I was very similar. So people would criticize that you always do like him. But Prabhupada said if you imitate a good thing, it's not bad. So more enthusiastic, the best it is. Without enthusiasm, that's the main thing, is enthusiasm. If there's no enthusiasm, there's no advancement. You have to be, and you'll fall down. There's Nrisimhananda Prabhu gives a story, this devotee, he said this devotee thought he was very advanced. Well, he was 3 years in Bury Place, and all these other people joined. So one day he came in the meeting and said, Prabhupada, I can't do it. I fell down again, and I don't think I can get up again. So Prabhupada laughed and laughed and laughed. That's what he says. And he said, don't worry. He says, when you walk, when you're a baby, you learn how to walk, you'll fall so many times. This is normal. But don't think you are advanced. So these things, so we try, we make mistakes, we try different things. But the main thing is the chanting. As long as one chants and tries to follow, then things will naturally come. You know? Make sense? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, as you told that the things in a spiritual life should come automatically. We should not impose anything that we can't do. It's beyond our limitation. So in case of like that, I'm just trying to increase my rounds, and sometimes I do, but all the time, like every day, I'm not able to do. So
do
how can we?
To do what?
I am just trying to increase my rounds, daily rounds.
Yes.
And more than 16. But many times I do, but usually again
I finish your rounds, or you don't chant your rounds early?
No, again I come to 16 rounds. I just come down.
You chant lower than 16 sometimes?
Yeah, I have to come on the 16 rounds. I'm not able to increase on daily basis.
More than 16?
Yeah.
But Prabhupada's not telling you to increase. He's asking you 16 good rounds. When you chant 16 good rounds, then maybe you increase. I mean, you can increase, but I'm just saying what Prabhupada's asking us 16 attentive good rounds.
So I try to increase my rounds.
That's your decision. But I'm just saying that Prabhupada is telling us we have to chant 16 good rounds. You see, the problem is we thinking we're in charge. Especially when you're managers. I remember I was president in Montreal, and it was Rath Yatra, and Madhua told me, he said, you're still chanting your rounds? Most presidents don't chant their rounds on Rath Yatra. So, because we thinking it's so important, I have to work. But we don't understand that ultimately Krishna is doing. So at least if I give 16 good rounds, Krishna will arrange. It's not because of my endeavors. It seems, but Krishna is doing it. So if we can't forget that principle that it's really chanting, I have to chant my rounds. And Prabhupada is very simple. Lakshmani Mataji gives a class, she was giving a memory, I don't know, I think they were in Buffalo, I don't know which temple. Prabhupada said, who is not chanting his rounds? People are like, who are not chanting his rounds? So some hands are going up. And then there was a painter who was still painting. Prabhupada was giving class. He said, I can't finish my rounds. I have so much work. I sleep 4 hours. Prabhupada said, sleep 2 hours. But Prabhupada was aware. He said, it's so easy. Chant 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night. And his formula was, he says, when he was a Grihastha, I'm sure he was chanting more rounds, but he was saying, you chant 4 rounds before breakfast, 4 rounds before lunch, before supper, and then 4 rounds before sleep. What is the problem? So he was very lenient. He just chant good rounds in the day, but chant them good. Like that. Now if you want to increase, you can increase, but the goal is to chant 16 good rounds. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you very much for your class. Many points were so clear. Yet one thought came, something I remember, about Tapasya, that it could seem, but because you mentioned that if we perform Tapasya, then we'll have the determination to perform devotional service. Yet we also hear that Bhakti comes from Bhakti, so it could be misunderstood. So that Tapasya is higher than Bhakti, because if something is giving us the chance to perform Bhakti.
Tapasya is just to break the modes of material nature. Is to break the roof, go beyond the roof. Brahma Bhuta Prasanat Manasochati. That's when you start about devotional service. So, but unless you perform tapasya, you won't have the, if people break the principle, it's difficult for grihasthas in America. They work all day, they come home, they don't want to chant, they watch TV, then they do other stuff, they can't get up in the morning. Then again, it's time for work. You know, life is tough. It's not easy because you get entangled and then the kids, and there's a big entanglement. So then they can't find the determination. But if they find the determination to some way or another to follow their vows, then they'll get the determination to go beyond. Then you can go through the modes. The problem is the mind. The problem is really the mind. The mind's always saying, do this, do that. We have to go beyond the mind. You see this in children. Children are always, oh, this, that. I mean, I can see, when I see my kids, I can see how my mind works too. So if you can go control the mind, now I know it's cold, but I have to go. Now I'm tired, but I have to go to Mangalati. I don't want to chant, but I'm going to chant. Saraswati Maharaj says, tell the mind, okay, you want to open the window? No problem, but keep on chanting. You know. But obviously, tapasya is a mean. It's not the goal. It's not higher than bhakti. But it helps you come to the stage where you can go on Brahmabhuta stage. Brahmabhuta Basanadmana Sochitina Kankshati. That level starts devotional service. You can't serve in the modes of nature because one day you'll go this way, one day you'll go this way, one day you'll go that way. That's why you can't trust non-devotees. They tell you, oh, I'll come tomorrow and buy the book. How you can trust? Because tomorrow his mind's going to say, I don't want to go. They can't control the mind. That makes sense? Hey, I just want to give a story. I mean, I just got, you know, the Prabhupada memories, but I just got the last memories. It's 56. The last DVD is 58. And I thought that was far out. So I just wanted to tell you. I told Charapu last time. But so we know, Prabhupada speaks in his books that even in Kali Yuga, they're eating fetuses, you know, baby embryos. And there was a big artist party. So it's Rameshwar Prabhu and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, they're going in LA, they're going for a walk. So they're in the car and they tell Prabhupada, these artists, this Andy, what's his name, Andy Walker? Huh? Yeah, well, so it was all on the news. What was their little snacks? It was embryos. So they told Prabhupada, and they thought Prabhupada's going to smash them and to say that they're demons, they're terrorists, this and that. And Prabhupada just lying down, he says, yeah. He says, you ready for this? Okay. He says, they don't know in Kali Yuga, but they will know in Kali Yuga that human flesh is the tastiest of all meat. Imagine Prabhupada. I mean, this is Rameshwar Prabhu was saying, so, I mean, and he very detailed, everything detailed. So Rameshwar Prabhu said, wow. They were shocked, first of all. They were like, huh? And then say, how you know all these things? You know everything, past, present, future. So imagine Prabhupada. Prabhupada is not from this world. Prabhupada is from another world. I mean, there's so many people can come and no one can be like Prabhupada. No one. It is not possible. And we can develop love for Prabhupada by serving, by reading books. And we can have the same realization as if someone had served Prabhupada directly. Okay, thank you. All goes to Prabhupada. Haribol.